Back in the day, me and my sister used to play a bunch of these adventure maps. It was actually the main thing that we used to do in Minecraft, was look online on the websites with all of these and find ones that looked cool and then load them up and play through them together. And this was way back in probably 2013 or so when we started. For years and years, just playing these adventure maps, they became very special to me. And even back in 2019 till now, I harass her into replaying them all with me to relive this part of our lives that I hold so dear. And fortunately, because of how many different times we played these maps and how many copies of them were sitting around at all my .minecrafts, it was very easy to archive and make backups that I intend to keep forever. And even though obviously the challenge is non-existent compared to what it was back then, I do seriously get enjoyment out of revisiting these worlds. The locations themselves now mean something to me. And as a very nostalgic person, I obviously feel this way towards all of my old Minecraft worlds. And I'm very, very fortunate to still have existing copies of a lot of my very first worlds, including my very first Minecraft Java world ever, and my very first Minecraft world ever on Minecraft Pocket Edition version like 1.05 alpha. Incredibly, the iPad that I had it on that was lost for a good 8 years or something turned up again, and everything is just how I remember it. It was an incredible feeling checking out this world again, the name being exactly what I remember, still finding the hidden chests I had hid on top of this dirt pillar in my house that had only existed in memory for a good 8 years before then. Most of this incredible archival success comes from my dad, who managed everything for us back then regarding the computers and Minecraft, and just has copies lying around of everything, probably predicting that it would eventually be something I would want to look back on. But even for a situation as lucky as mine, it is unfortunately not perfect. If I had to think back and figure out what my most important Minecraft worlds are, while the very first ones are of course up there, there are 3 particular ones that stand out to me. The first of which is my very first serious world that I played with my sister and dad. The world was called Epic, and it was one of those ones I hadn't seen in close to 10 years. But when I finally got to revisit it via this archive recently, everything was basically just how I remembered it. It was a world I was so attached to that every time we went to play a new co-op run through together, I would just want to use the same seed and build my house in the exact same spot, even though this was back in 2013 and 2014 before any of it was even nostalgic. I have so many copies of that world as backups from when we would play it as hardcore and not want to lose the world and all of that, so I'm happy to say that one also still exists. The second of these 3 most important worlds is a series of co-op worlds with my friend from 3rd grade. Back in 3rd grade in elementary school, I had a very good friend who at the end of 3rd grade actually moved across the country. I'm not sure how common it is to stay good friends with somebody through a distance like that early in your life, but in this particular case, this is a friend that I would still fly across the country for tomorrow if needed. And what I owe this strongness of bond to is actually Minecraft. While he did visit every now and then, the most times we would see each other after he moved is when our parents would set up these mornings on Saturday or Sunday where we would FaceTime each other and go play on either our creative or survival world. And eventually our sisters got in on it too, and all 4 of us had these gigantic worlds, one survival, one creative, filled with years and years worth of work and memories. And recently I've been going back and touring that world with him again, which is part of why I thought of making this video. But as you can probably guess, that world of course also I still have a copy of to this day. And that leaves the 3rd of the 3 most important worlds from my childhood, which also happens to be the main topic of this video. So while I would play all of these adventure maps with my sister all the time back then, we would usually just boot up a new copy after finishing it, the old one being completed at that point. But there was one time where this actually wasn't the case. The map that I'm playing on right now is called Dead Prison by Raptor Spinorex. It's the 3rd adventure map we ever played together and one of the most replayed and most important ones of the entire pile. The actual Minecraft map this is built on is a simple super flat world, the whole map itself being created with some sort of tools. But the point is, at the very end of the map, you just end up at the super flat expanse. And one particular time, somewhere around 2015 or 2016, we ended up staying on that copy of the finished world and just starting a creative world in that crazy super flat area at the end. And we ended up playing on this world so consistently for such a long period of time. I was never a builder, but my sister was a little more inclined that way. And together we built an incredible amount of stuff. I think the main attraction was this giant amusement park, and we kept adding stuff on. We had a zoo, we had a roller coaster, we had all this really cool stuff. And while doing this recent tour of all of my old worlds, finding every single one that I could remember, I obviously at some point wanted to see this one as well. But unlike the others I mentioned, it wasn't managed by my dad, instead simply existing in my .minecraft folder and probably nowhere else. That world is what you see right here. I had renamed it Don't Delete so that, unlike all the other finished copies of these adventure maps we finished, future me wouldn't accidentally delete it thinking it wasn't special. But tragically, my .minecraft turned into the installation that I play Bed Wars on, meaning I run it on an older version than a lot of the worlds that were still in there, including this one, and I accidentally booted this world on that version recently, and this is what it did. I'm not sure what the recording is going to be showing right now, but essentially my game crashed. But even going back to versions where my game doesn't crash when loading it, most of the chunk area is completely corrupted. Here's the end of the map, and from out here, it turns into the super flat world instead of the constructed map, and right here next to this village is where we built the gigantic amusement park, all through this area. But unluckily, these chunks were some of the ones that corrupted when I opened that world. Oh wait, here's the exact version. Yeah, you can see I'm in the middle of nowhere because I was running around for ages with speed 300 hoping that the uncorrupted chunks were somewhere that I didn't remember. You can see here the ones from the original map that were left and the ones that got cut off. But wherever those particular chunks were was in this reloaded version and might no longer exist at all anymore. The realization that I may never get this world back is honestly somewhat crushing. But considering how fortunate I am to have almost every single other piece from this era that I wanted still intact, makes me feel almost a little guilty about being so sad over losing it. Most people don't have any worlds even close to their first one still saved. And considering I have essentially all but one of them, it makes me feel a little weird about being this torn up about it. Especially considering how much from the world I still remember. That and the fact that it turns out my memories of these worlds are actually pretty dang accurate based on all the other ones I've looked through. If I still had the world, would I even feel special about it at all? Or is it only special because I no longer have it? What I do have though is the world icon that gets auto-generated in some versions of Minecraft. I haven't played Minecraft all that much in the last 5 or 6 years besides competitively, so I don't actually remember what versions do what. But this world had been carried through so many different updates of Minecraft that we kept playing on it, that it had actually gotten to a version where it had one of those auto-generated world icons. The icon that I put in the thumbnail. This may be the only existing image of the world because I wasn't one to take that many screenshots back then. And while it is extremely nice to have this, it makes me miss the actual world even more. I remember hiding a chest underground in the super flat area of the amusement park and not being able to find it again, which prompted the download of my first ever X-ray texture pack, which I believe was for version 1.7.10. and helped me find the chest that I had hidden in a completely super flat plane and would have never found ever again. A texture pack that I then went on to use in various servers throughout the 2010s decade. C418 once said that he wanted the music of Minecraft to play sporadically so that it would become intertwined with whatever you were doing at the time you heard the song. Essentially making a composite memory where you could listen to the song and remember your times from the game or vice versa. This was definitely the case for me personally, but for the majority of the beautiful survival soundtrack songs, my memories that were originally etched with them have been overridden. Sometime back around 2019, I discovered the Minecraft soundtrack as like an existing piece of music instead of just the music from the game, and I've listened to it so much ever since. Even back in 2019, it made me so ridiculously nostalgic for those 2013 and 2014 times. And I would play survival Minecraft just to hear the songs again. But unfortunately, this also overrode the memories associated with those songs in my brain before that. Now when I try to think about what is linked with Sweden in my head, all I can picture is that world in 2019 that I booted up just to hear it again, and feeling so lucky that it played the second half of the song, which it sometimes doesn't. Even though I've played a lot of survival, I actually had played less creative. In fact, the world that I spent by far the most time in creative in was this super flat world with my sister. And as a result of that, a majority of the creative mode songs still give me such strong pictures of this particular world. They're very closely associated with those memories, just like C418 had hoped. So putting all that together, I actually remember a lot about this particular world, but I'm unsure if that lessens the blow of not having it anymore at all. Anyway, this video didn't really have a specific point in mind. I mostly wanted to record it as an archive of how I'm feeling right now. I might end up posting it to my second channel at some point, but it's possible that I'll also be the only one to ever see this. These adventure maps and these named worlds are so insanely important to me. And I'm so grateful to be able to visit so many of them now, even 13 years later. And yet, having 99% of the important stuff archived, there still might be some things I just can't get back. I'm still holding out hope for this particular case that I will be able to find a copy of this world after all, but I do fear that the only copy is this one that has corrupted. If you're looking for something to take away from this video, perhaps think about what things in your life you might want to look back on fondly in 10 years. Maybe you're not as nostalgic as I am, and maybe you don't find the past quite as important as I do. Now I'm trying to archive all sorts of things, having all of these worlds, all of my music, even all of my old videos that I used to make. Because once it's gone, it's just gone for good. And it's hard to tell what you might miss in 10 years if it's no longer available. And while I may not ever be able to get that world back, that doesn't mean that I won't still have the memories from it. Although even with the memories, it might not be possible to ever get back that feeling from back then.